Everyone, welcome to today's lecture. This is going to be on the rest of the CAD functions. So last week we covered just some real basic ones. Now we'll cover the next ones throughout this ribbon here. Now I know that some of these are going to be more difficult doing one by one. As we do bigger drawings and more drawings, they will start to make more and more sense. Alright, so these videos will be there for you to refer to. Going through each function one by one, but reality is we use all of these when we do the drawings. Okay, so it will all come together. Alright, so if you're not getting it just yet, don't stress, just keep following through and it will make sense. I have these tasks here to give to you in the next class, but I'll go through them towards the end of this video as well. First things first, I'll just tick off what we've got left. So we've got a few functions to go through first. So I'm just going to draw a line here, say 1000. I'll draw just another one over here, say 400. Okay. And I'll copy these just down here. Alright, so what we're going to look at first is we're going to look at our fillet and chamfer functions, which is this one here. Alright, so fillet, click the arrow next to it, I have a chamfer. So fillet, what it's going to do is put a bend in where these lines join. So first thing, I click fillet, and then I click the down key on the keyboard. What I'm going to specify is the radius. So specifying a radius, I've used this file before, so yours should be 0 minus 25. What I'm going to do is specify how much I want that line to bend when they meet. I'm going to put 300 just to show what's happening. Obviously it will be a lot smaller, you just have to zoom in to see it. Enter. Now what CAD's asking is pick the lines you want to fillet together. So select the first one, so I want to connect these two lines. So I want to connect this line, pick the next line you want to fillet to, which is this one here. So put a big bend here, okay, it creates that new line. Alright, so that's what the fillet does. Now if I wanted to, I can specify a much smaller radius. Say I'll go back to the 25 that I had. This line will stay. Alright. So that's the first one that I had. Now it does put in another bend with a radius of 25. So that's how we use a fillet. We'll use this more so when we do our concrete. We don't really use it too much in other places. But the chamfer we will use quite a lot. All of our drawings are straight, or most of them are straight, so we use the chamfer. We use this a lot with our floor plans and with the roof. What a chamfer does is the same thing as a fillet, but it has a 0 radius. So what it does is it just gives you a right angle. So select the line here, and it just gives me just a nice straight right angle meet between the two lines. Okay, same thing, one puts a bend in it, one is straight. Okay, the next thing that we have is a trim and extend function. So I'll just draw another line through here, and then I'll put one, say, over here. All of these functions you will cover in here, alright? So just follow with me for now, but you will keep repeating them through here. So trim is the scissors. What it does is it cuts a line. So select the scissors. Now it's saying where do you want to cut to? So if I want to cut this line to here, so I'll select where I want to cut to, go enter. Now what line do I want to cut? I want to cut this line here. Okay. So that's how I trim that. The other way you can do is trim, and if it's not bound between a couple of lines, you can just go enter, okay, and it will let you trim bits and pieces. Some of them will, some of them won't. This line here I can't cut because if I look at the element, it's only spanning from here to here. Okay, so it's nothing cutting between it. But if I put a line through here and a line through here, if I go to trim, I can either cut between this line and this line, enter, and then cut. Or, because it's spanning between two elements, I can just trim, enter, and it will let me cut it. Alright. The extend function is obviously the opposite to trim. As opposed to cutting it, it's going to extend it. So where the arrow is, extend. I want to extend this line to this line. Okay, obviously they have to intersect. If it's parallel, it will not work. So I'm extending to this line, enter. What do I want to extend? Well, I want to extend this line across. Enter. Alright. Shortcut for enter is just the right click on the keyboard. Alright. Sorry, on the keyboard, on the mouse. So that is how we trim and extend. That's those functions. Now a hatch. So if I come with a rectangle, okay, a hatch can only be done with a closed shape. So I'll show you one with a square, and we'll do one with a polyline. So let's go, say 900, 1400. All right, go away. 300, 600. What have we got left? 600. And then C, enter to close it. So two shapes. Now a hatch is this one here. Alright, this is how we put in any patterns for either our brick course on the outside of our house or our tiles in our wet areas. So hatch. Alright, now I can either select an object, which is this object. It will highlight the object. Or what I can do is click the down on the keyboard and I can pick an internal point. Okay, if I want to pick an internal point, I can just click in here. Okay. I prefer to select an object. You'll find out the difference when you're using it. Picking internal points sometimes can just be a bit of a pain in the ass in the way that it's not the most friendly thing to use. So if you've drawn a shape with a polyline or a square or a circle or whatever it is, you know where you're going to put that hatch. Okay, probably sounds like gibberish right now, but in a floor plan here, this is the hatch I'm talking about. Is this tiles in here? Okay, so back to our shapes. It will all make sense as we progress. So I have my different patterns up in here. Okay, there's quite a few of them, so you can go through them all. I'm just going to use the angle for this example. So click the shape that I want to use. Alright, now it comes up just pure white. The reason for that is this scale number here. Alright, so if I bring that up to say 500, enter, I get smaller ones. If I bring it back down to 100, alright, it's just how zoomed in that is. It's just the scale of these the pattern. So 1000. So what you'll find is we'll be going through quite a lot of this, trying to find one that kind of looks aesthetic. Once you put the hatch in there, you can delete the object and the hatch will remain. There's a few different little tricks to hatch, but we will cross that when we come to our bigger drawings. And you do have just some typical, this is the brick, a roof, benches, and these are your tiles here. There's this match properties function, which is really useful. So match properties, select what you want to match, and then select where you want to match it to. Okay. So that's how we use a hatch. We can hatch this one as well. So I can hatch here. Let's use this one. Alright, so that will put a hatch to the other side. Same thing, if I want this to change to here, I go match properties. CAD asks me to select the source object, so select what design you want to bring across. I want to bring this one. Where do you want it to go? I want it to come here. Escape. So that's the hatch function. Scale. So I'll just draw another rectangle here. We'll make it a square. Let's go 300, 300. The scale function is this one. So I click on it, select the object you want to scale. I want to scale this one, enter. Now what it's saying is where you want to scale it from. Okay, there's a bit of this can be quite annoying because you can't just click over here and start scaling because it goes kind of all over the shop. So you want to pick a point that you know. So specify a base point. I'm going to pick the bottom corner, and then how much I want to scale it by. If I want to scale it by, say, 3.5, okay, which means this one here is 3.5 times bigger than the first one that I had. That's the way the scale works. Stretch is another useful function. Stretch is very important. You have to use it for your measurements. You cannot move measurements in CAD. It ruins the accuracy of your drawing. You have to stretch them. Okay, this will again make sense when we get through it, but for now we're just going to go through the functions. So to stretch, start from left to right. Right to left. Everything that green line cuts will move. So from here to here, enter. Specify your base point. It can be anywhere on the page for this. So I can stretch from, from here, start to move it across. I can type in, 500, specify how much I want to stretch it by. But with all drawings, practice, practice, practice. So if I do this again and cut this line and this line, but not the bottom, enter. If I now try to stretch from here, this is what happens. All right, so it's only going to move the lines that it cuts. Our measure tool, we can do it from here, or we can go annotate. All right, in annotate, we've got dimension, or we've got linear. All right, either or will work. So dimension from here to here, click again. All right, gives me that measurement there. For this side, from here to here, click again. Escape. So that's how you start to measure. All right, text. We can either go from multi-line text or back to our home button and go text. Specify the first corner. So I click once. Specify the opposite corner. So I'm basically creating a text box like I would in Word. Click again, and now I can type whatever I want. Okay. All right. To make it bigger, we just drag this box out to shift it onto different levels. To bring that text up. Now, the most important one that is really vital for all drawings is the layers here. Okay. So in your template that you've got, these layers, okay, you have one for everything. Okay, for text, for walls, for concrete, for steel, for brick, for everything you can imagine, you have sitting in here. Now what this is if I look here, if I click on this line, this tells me it's a floor joist. I know it's not a floor joist, it's a square. Okay, it's not representing anything, it's just representing a square. If I click on this hatch here, all right, come back to home, this tells me it's a hatch. I'll draw another line under this one, say 1000. Okay, this one here is a floor joist. I'll change this layer now. When my CAD decides to load, awesome. I'm going to change it to a footing. I'm going to draw this line over here. Another 1000. Escape. So this one is a floor joist. This one is our footing. Now I'm going to change the properties of this rectangle here. So I can do it after or before, it's up to you. Usually before is easier. So I'll change it in here. I'm going to make this one to be on new walls. The other thing you can do is change colors. So you click on the line and you can change the colors over here. So if I want it to be pink, okay, if I want this one here to be blue, bit hard to see, and that one can stay, I will make it say yellow. Okay, so we've got 3 different lines. Now the cool thing with layers and the importance of them is this lock and unlock function. So if I lock a layer, I click on this lock button and I lock this one. Okay, I'm going to lock another one, I'm going to lock this one. So now if I select these, I've locked this layer and I've locked this one. Select them all, move, try to move it across, say 2000. The only ones that are going to move are the layers that are not locked. Okay, this is going to come very useful when we start looking at larger plans. So it's very important that you put different things on different layers. To unlock, so I can use this again, just unlock it. So unlock and click the one you want to unlock, and that will unlock all lines or elements drawn under that layer. Alright, so really useful tool to go through. The other thing, or the last real function we're going to have to go through now, or the last two, sorry, is under this utilities here, we've got this measuring tool. This measuring tool is really helpful for our areas, which we'll need for our house. So area, you can specify a point, or just, again, grab an object using the down key on the keyboard and click the shape. So it tells me the area in millimeters, or millimeters squared, sorry. Again, all of these we will be building upon and going through time and time again. Okay, you cannot draw without using these functions, so don't stress about it. You're going to get hammered with it over the next 18 weeks. The last thing we're going to go through is just some properties. So if I click on, say, one of these measurements, I have my properties up here. If you can't find it, click this little down arrow and click the property tick. Okay, that will put it up here, and then you can click on it. What this will do is this will just tell me everything about my measurement or the element that's selected. So in here I can change these architectural ticks. Alright, I can go through, I can change it to be whatever I want it to be. Alright. Again, it is preference. There are standards to go through as to what we use where. Dimension lines, I can turn them off. Alright, you can leave them on. So there are little different things in here that we play around with, but we'll go through them as we draw. Text height, if I want to make this bigger, 500. Okay. This one here won't change because my text style is standard. Okay, standard will not change. Okay, if I change it to say this one, alright, change that back to 250. Alright, we can alter everything here. The offset from that line, make it 0. It will put it back down. So our settings in here we can play around with, which you'll go through 1,000 times over, but this is where you find it. And this one here, I just select this shape. Something we do a lot of are hidden lines. So hidden lines are for beams or supports or anything that you can't see from the outside. So our footings will have any supporting beams for our lintels, for our rafters, or for anything like that. We come through our line type and we change it to dashed, dash dot, or dashed. Alright, change the scale here, 500. Alright, what it's doing is just making this like we did before with the hatch, same thing, 1500. Okay, that's a bit too big, 500 looks a bit better. Okay, or even 1,000. Alright, we start looking at these, not so much a standard number, we look at them more than anything for our presentation, which is a skill that we'll gain over time. Alright, now what I want to do is I'm going to go through all of these. What I might do is just put that in the next video. Please make sure you do watch these videos and take some notes, because you never know, there might be a quiz popping up and you might need to know them for your exam. Thanks guys.